Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is KidLee, and this is episode 38 of the TOR Report. This week's show will once again be focused on the hot topic of galactic strongholds. I will once again apologize for the poor footage, but this is the best that I have at this time. I just don't want new viewers to think, oh, this KidLee guy, his footage is so terrible. No, it's not that. It's just for Galactic Stronghold footage, this is the only thing that's out there. So if you want to see stuff, this is what you're going to get. So in this week's news, more information about Galactic Strongholds continues to slowly come out. So here are a few tidbits from this past week. In your stronghold, if you have a locked room, you will be able to go up to the door for that room and click on the door to actually see what the price options are, or if you happen to have the proper currency, that is actually how you open up or buy the next room. They are not planning to add any housing items that give buffs. Guild flagships will only have one design at launch, but it looks like multiple designs might be something that they are looking into, so that's pretty cool. There are no plans to add any hooks or plugs to the previous player starships. You will be able to buy some of the decor items with cartel certificates, and you are not able to rename your stronghold, but you are unable to unlock different titles that will be displayed. If you take a look at the screenshot that I have posted on the screen, you can see where it has the character name and then the title of your stronghold. So that's how they're going to do sort of the custom name thing, is different titles. So let's go ahead and move on to some dev chat. The big topic in dev chat this week was all about legacy storage. Eric Musco answered a few questions regarding this, so I will go over his responses. Question number 1 is simply, how do I get legacy storage? And his answer was, you will get legacy storage for free when the completion of the Introduction to Strongholds mission. Upon acquiring your first stronghold, legacy storage will also be craftable, and it is possible to appear on the cartel market. Question number 2 was, if I add another legacy storage to my stronghold, does this add more storage space? And the answer is, it does not. Adding more legacy storage units, aka units, will simply add another access point, similar to how the cargo hold works right now. You can increase the size by adding more bays. So then the next question is how big will it be? So legacy storage by default, with one bay unlocked, that bay will have 80 slots in it. You will be able to purchase additional bays with credits or cartel coins. The next question is, can I place bind on pickup items in my legacy storage? And he says, as of game update 2.9, you cannot place or transfer BOP items through your legacy storage. I will say that this issue is something that we will continue to discuss internally and could potentially change in the future. Next question is, can I access my crafting materials from legacy storage? And the answer is yes, you can. The way it will work is that when you go to craft something, your materials will be pulled in this priority: inventory, cargo, legacy storage. So that will go ahead and do it for this week's dev chat. Some really interesting stuff about legacy storage. It'd be really cool to see what they're able to do with that in the future. So let's go ahead and move on to some Q&A. If you would like to submit questions for future shows, send questions to KidLee, asf@gmail.com, or send me a private message on YouTube. Question number 1 comes in from Patty B. They ask, I'm a new player and I started right after a double XP weekend. I was wondering how often double XP weekends are. And the question or I guess I should say the answer to that is basically it's at random. It's like whenever the devs feel like doing it. They do try and stick with the holiday thing a little bit. It seems like they are usually doing them on like the holiday weekends or something along those lines. But other than that, it's just completely random whenever they feel like doing it. The second and final question of the day comes in from Lord Matthew. He asks, I'm kind of new to flashpoints and need some help or advice. I'm playing a Sith Juggernaut, tanking, and I always feel like I'm doing something wrong. Other people expect me to know exactly how to do everything and are rude if I mess up. So I was wondering, how should I do the flashpoints as a tanking role? Any tips, advice, whatever would be great. Well, I'd say it's a little difficult to answer this question based on not knowing your previous MMO experience. If you've played other MMOs, World of Warcraft or whatever, and you've done a tank, then I would say just pretty much stick to, how the tanking works in that game works pretty well in this game. But if you're completely new to MMOs and you're new to flashpoints and dungeons, I would say going tank is not necessarily the greatest idea in the world. As a new character, you really have to go DPS if you're new to MMOs. Just going as a DPS, really learning about the game, learning how grouping works in dungeons, flashpoints, adventures, whatever the game calls for. Because jumping in as a tank and never, playing with other people, never doing flashpoints dungeons before, that would be incredibly challenging because, you're right, you wouldn't know necessarily what to do and what people expect of you. So, again, it really comes down to your previous experience. So, again, if you've played other games as a tank, just keep doing what you've been doing as long as you think it's okay. But otherwise, if you're new to MMOs, you should definitely think about changing your spec. You can do Juggernaut DPS. Definitely give that a roll. But, ladies and gentlemen, that will go ahead and do it for this week's episode of the TOR Report. So, with that being said, everybody keep playing and have fun.